is required, not required because we don't have to have a stakeholders meeting, but this is in reference to some proposed rules that have been published in the Texas Register. As you all know, we are making changes in 675.20, .21, .22, and .23, and the purpose of this meeting today is to simply receive input from generators and waste processors and anyone else that's interested in this whole project. The comment period, as you probably all know, ends June 22nd. So this is probably as good a time as any to, that's the 45 days from the date that was published in the Texas Register. So we appreciate your being here today to provide input to us. Jim Krausen's office has been kind enough to provide us copies of the rules. Hopefully everyone's picked up one of those. They are lined, they are numbered. The lines are numbered and page numbers. So when you come up, if you come up to make a comment or provide us some information, please, if you would, refer to the page number and the line number so we'll know exactly where you are. Also, when you come up, we ask you to come to the microphone up here at the podium and identify first yourself and your affiliation so we will have it for the record. We are actually not only having this session videotaped, but also a transcript, a written transcript prepared. So that'll make it easier for all of us to look back at the comments and make sure we address all of your concerns this morning. Anyway, so let's, we'll be glad to get started. And
Madam Chairman, may I make a couple of housekeeping comments? We would ask, Madam Reporter, that this be an exhibit to the transcript that you're making. And we would also ask that any of the commenters who have something that to submit in writing, that they submit it to the reporter as well, and that will be also appended to the transcript.
Thank you, Jim. And also, I'm remiss in not introducing the people here at the table. On my right, we have the Commission Vice Chair, John Salzman, also a member of the Rules Committee. We have Commissioner Clint Weber, who's sitting in today and helping us out. Thank you, Clint, for taking an extra day out of your schedule. Myself, Linda Morris, who I'm Chair of the Rules Committee. We have our counsel, Jim Krausen, and we have Richard Saudek, representing Vermont on the Commission. He's also a member of the Rules Committee. Just want to say how hard this Rules Committee has worked and how much we appreciate the assistance of the work that the Rules Committee has done. This has not been a short process by any means. And also, I must mention how appreciative we are of the work provided by Lee Ng and Audrey Farrell. Audrey, thank you for setting up this meeting this morning, so we appreciate that. Okay, I think that's any other comments before we actually get started receiving information. Lee, anything else you can think of that we need to do? Okay, all right. So, do we have a volunteer who wants to be first?
Don't be shy.
Otherwise, this is going to be a very short meeting.
We may look grumpy, but we're really not.
No, it's early, but still not that early.
Yeah.
So, is anybody ready to come up and say something? Yay! Yay, Eddie, okay.
This way it'll give other people a chance to correlate the pages. So you want us to stand here.
But that will give your comments particular weight.
Great, and I need to lose some weight. So thank you very much. My name is Edward Selig, and I represent Advocates for Responsible Disposal in Texas. And my comment relates to 675.22, Section 4B, which can be found on page 31 of the lined text, line 7. Page 31, line 7, 675.22, Section 4B. So when the rule states that the Compact Commission will continue to recognize and protect the portion of the Texas Compact disposal capacity reserved for Vermont and not to be used for non-party states, it should also mention Texas, which was inadvertently omitted. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Selig. Okay, next. Okay. Mr. Krieger.
My name is Kenneth Krieger. I work for Radiation Technology. My comment and/or question is referring to page 16, I guess 275, subchapter B, A, and it would be 16, line 1. For low-level radioactive waste acquired on or after April 27, 2012, et cetera, et cetera. My question is, what happens to the waste that was acquired before that date?
Let me just make a comment here, too. Something the Rules Committee talked about informally yesterday. If you have suggestions or things you would like to see added or changed, if you can help us with the wording of some of that, we will, if you've got recognize a problem, if you could help us provide a solution and actually provide some suggested wording, we will certainly consider that wording. So please do feel free to suggest ways to fix the rules, these proposed rules, and we'll certainly take that into consideration. You can help us do our job a little better. So, Mr. Krieger, if that's something you want to suggest, or, okay, anyhow.
I might help a little bit here. I think the intent here, and there's certainly we could look at changing it, but the intent here is to implement a definition that applies to a period of time after April 27th, 2012, and not necessarily to redefine the definitions that may have been in effect prior to that date. So that's the idea here, and if there's a lack of clarity, we'll certainly think about that in the next draft.
I take it that's the date that they started accepting waste at the compact facility.
It was either accepting waste or opening or promulgation of rules. I don't know what the exact date was.
I believe that was the date they started accepting waste.
It was.
I can't remember if it was that day that the first shipment showed up. It may have been.
Okay. Any other comments people would like to make? Or okay, Mr. Knapp. Okay, all right. Yeah, somebody else would like to jump to the head of the line. Everyone just loves these rules the way they are now. Don't need to make any other changes.
With the permission of the chair, if there's difficulty transferring your comments to the line. Okay, if there's difficulty with that, if you can figure out, just go ahead and comment the way you commented. And
Yes, please.
It's kind of hard to talk to. Hi, my name is Dan Schrum with Energy Solutions. First, I'd like to thank the Commission and especially the Rules Committee for the fine work that you've done so far. Good work. We only had a couple of comments. We've got some, we'll be providing written comments at a later time, but one that we would like you to consider in the meantime, and the first one is There appears to be two definitions for a compact disposal facility, and I think that might just be a carryover. If you could get those two combined, or the thought of combining those two, so we just have one very solid definition of what a compact disposal facility is. I also consider defining the commission's technical committee, just so we understand, is that a technical committee of people within the compact, or on the compact, and what their roles and responsibilities will be. And the definition of the disposal currently includes our host state. We understand why that is in there, but you may want to, at this point in time, just consider correlating the Texas rules on disposal with EPA and NRC to see if there's any differences, and potentially just remove the host state would be something to consider. And also in the definition of low-level radioactive waste, there's a it states something like not as long as the waste is not incompatible, and I know that's a carryover from the Act also, but a further definition of what is exactly meant by that. I don't know that when they wrote the Act they had anything in mind. If the commissioners have something in mind, that would be fine. If not, maybe just state so in the preamble. And that's really it. Again, very nice job on the rules, and glad to be here. Thank you.
Is there a reason you can't give us chapter and verse here? I mean, rather than...
These are all in the definitions.
Okay.
Everyone that I discussed, so that's 20, just went to part 61. 20, it's 20. So again, we will provide a letter, but it's all in the definition section. In the definition section, there's two definitions of a compact disposal facility that are not quite the same. If those could be combined, or however you'd like to handle that. The definition of disposal in 20 includes or host state definition, and may be good to just put the definition of what Texas defines as disposal right in the rule, as opposed to or how the host state defines disposal. And the word commission's technical committee is used in 23 twice. And we don't know exactly what that means. I believe I know what it means, but it would be nice to have a definition of commission's technical committee. And also in the definition section, low-level radioactive waste is defined and talks about it can't be incompatible with the compact facility, and that's a little vague to me, and I would like to know what the committee thought incompatible meant, other than what it says in the Act. Did that help?
Yeah,
a little bit?
I mean, if you're gonna have written comments, that's fine, but it seems to me that, a suggestion as to how to tighten up the language, or which language to choose when they're incompatible with each other, would be useful to us.
And we will have written comments on that. The primary one is right now there are two definitions of the compact disposal facility. They're very, very close to each other.
Are those found in 675.20 on page 14 and 15, and I think one of those is number 3 at line 21 on page 14. Is that correct? And then on page 25, definition 5.
Actually, page 15.
Page 15,
Yeah, definition.
line 6. I think those are the references that he's making.
And I still haven't gone to this new version where everything's spelled out, which is very handy. I did have one other comment. The definition of a generator in 20, and Victor, what page number is generator on this new version? 15. The definition of generator, we're a little confused on what, it's 675.29, defines a generator, and we're not sure if our processing facilities would meet the definition of a generator, because our processing facilities are required by NRC rules and also state rules to have the waste attributed to themselves when it's indistinguishable between all the other generators and what we generate ourselves, because we incinerate and we do metal melt. And we will be making a comment for the committee to consider allowing us to attribute waste to ourselves, as we are required to do, and then providing a list of generators where the waste came from. So it's an attribution issue that we've dealt with, and in fact, the way I've got it written so far, we talk about the solution we have in other states, how we were just able to provide a list of generators, but we are still the owners of the waste.
Well, I can see, I'm sorry to keep
Oh,
yakking like this, is that okay?
No, that's fine, that's why we're here, so.
Just taking the terms compact facility, and then compact waste disposal facility on pages 14 and 15, I can certainly see there's a difference in that. The more precise term seems to be that one on page 15. It goes from 6 to 8 on 15. Is that the one that you think we should use, or?
the longer definition?
No, actually, I think
The
it's
shorter
definition.
Either one of them are fine, they're just different. And whatever the committee thinks that you should be using is fine. It's just that, you know, a good rule, nobody has to guess.
I think one possible distinction here should be mentioned, and number 5 is a clear reference to the one that's been licensed by TCEQ, and the 1 and 3 on page 14 at line 21 is a generic definition. It's not impossible, I suppose, that another facility could be constructed, and this would be a reference to that.
Okay.
That's one possible reason for there to be 2.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a difference between the two. You're right, we probably ought to choose one or the other.
That's all our suggestion is pick one, and that way we'll know. I think we know what everybody means. We mean the facility operated by WCS, that's the compact facility, the actual place for disposal. The other one makes it sound like other things are associated with the compact disposal facility.
Right.
The buildings, and if that's your intent, I don't know that the commission typically oversees what goes on at the other the other buildings and things like that. It's just control of what goes into the compact disposal facility.
Well, it's any, under the 3 on page 14. It looks as if it could be any facility in the state of Texas that disposes of low-level radioactive waste for which Texas and Vermont are responsible. It's not specific at all as to where or who or. I mean, I think we've always, at least I've always looked at the compact facility as a particular hole in the ground within the perimeter of that WCS land, but it is not any other facility within that area, nor I think is it, excuse me, nor is it some other place outside that area. I don't know.
Well, so somebody that would like to challenge number 3, mean any site, location, structure, or property located in and provided by the host state for the purpose of disposal of low-level radioactive waste for which the party states are responsible.
It's pretty broad.
Well, it would include the exempt cells. It would also include the DOE facility. So that's why if a more concise definition would probably be in order.
And there also, I think, needs to be thrown into the mix here with whatever clarification there may be of that, the fact that the commission's authority over low-level radioactive waste being imported into the state is broader than just the waste that goes to the facility. And I think that may be one of the distinctions that's being drawn here, maybe not as exactly as it could be.
And I know, got here a little bit late. I thought there would be plenty of taxis, but they're all floating down Lavaca Street, but,
Floating, yes.
I apologize if I misunderstood or I didn't realize you wanted, and hopefully your question's back. You understand exactly what we're referring to now.
Well, thank you for bringing this to our attention.
Sure.
It's something we'll
Thank you.
definitely look into. Thank you.
My name's Robert Knapp. I'm with Luminant Generation, the Comanche Peak Nuclear Power Plant. I appreciate you guys allowing us to make comments, working with us here on this. I'm going to start off on page 20, line 14, 675.21B. You define petitioner in that section. Do you guys also need to then move that definition to the new Part 20 section? Just a comment. Okay. The next
I'm sorry,
one,
where were you again? I'm sorry.
oh, sorry, line 14 on page 20.
And Mr. Knapp, will you be sending these in writing also? Okay.
We will also be sending you written comments. Okay. Next one, 675.21, which is on line 20, page 23. Okay, and this is more the form on your website. I don't know if you guys have updated that since you did the rule, but one specific thing, it asks for specific radionuclides listed, which is not in the rule, but it's still on the form. So I don't know if you guys have gone a thorough scrubbing of the form since you've done the rule. Okay. Next one, I'm going to be jumping to two different sections here because there's a difference. In 675.21, line 24, page 20.
Give that again?
Sure, it is line 24, page 20. Okay. It talks about sending the information. In this section, you say it needs to be electronic mail and UPS or Federal Express. Okay? And in 675.22, which is line 12, page 29, you have the word or. I don't know if you guys just want an email or you want both the email and the hard copy. So, just some inconsistency
We'll
there.
clarify that. Okay, thank you.
Okay, the next one, 675.21, J4, which is line 11, page 27. That's line 11, page 27. This one, it's not clear to us what you want us to give you for at the time frame, because a lot of this stuff, again, since we've sent it to a processor, we're not going to know when they ship it and how much activity that they will have shipped, or they'll give us on an annual basis. Up to that point, I could get a report from them on that, but that may not be all the waste that had been shipped during that time frame. So if I send them something in July, they may not process it by the August 31st date. So that's why I can give you whatever they give me for a report at the end of that time frame. I just need to know if that is good enough. So the language, we'll try to send you some language to maybe help with that,
Thank
Okay,
you.
good.
okay? The last one I have is 675-22B, which is page 29, line 19. It talks about, this is for reporting again. Section 1, it talks about the volume of waste proposed for exportation. Well, if we're sending you a report, it's not proposed anymore. So we think you probably ought to just say the volume of waste exported. And again, also the chemical form of the waste exported. Those are all pretty minor comments.
Helpful.
Do you have any anything else? Clarification you need from me?
You've been very helpful. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Lee, you're gonna have to fill in the silence.
Commissioners, are there any comments or that you'd like to make? Or Eddie, okay, Eddie's not going to. Cliff?
I'm sorry, Commissioner, I can't hear you.
Okay. Just,
No comments at this point.
okay, does anyone in the audience need more time to, okay, Mr. Selig?
Thank you. I just wanted to reiterate our appreciation for the work that you've done, and that we will be following up our verbal comments today with some written comments before the June 22nd deadline.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Linda?
Mhm.
I'm going to ask one. So far, we haven't had any comments, at least not today, and I'm not sure if we've had any written comments on the subject of small quantity generator. And that was sort of a term of art that we developed when these rules were first amended. I think it was around 2 years ago or 3 years ago, I forget now. Anybody have any comment about that? It seems to have worked pretty well, but that now is the time if we need to make any sort of adjustment or change or anything like that. I would appreciate input.
Good morning. Thank you for all your hard work. I'm David Martin. I support the Department of Energy National Nuclear Security Administration Global Material Security Program. And again, thanks for all the support that you all have provided in terms of the small quantity generator sealed source disposal from a national security, public health, and safety perspective. We certainly consider it of huge importance. And the Texas facility opening and its continued operation is enormous from that standpoint. In terms of the small quantity generator, I was looking at the language actually just now, and it looks as though some of the language has been struck. I'll look a little more closely, and we will submit comments as appropriate. Certainly, sealed source generators with which we're concerned tend to be small quantity generators. The larger generators we're less concerned about. They tend to have the financial resources and ability to secure and ship their sources. It's the disused sources at the smaller sites, which tend to be a greater concern from a national security, public health, and safety perspective. defining the small quantity generator in terms of the cubic feet, I think it has been 100 cubic feet per year, I recall has been tricky in a couple circumstances where a large generator somehow qualified under that definition. There has been not an issue as far as I'm aware of getting sealed sources or plenty of waste, small quantity generator waste into the site, so it hasn't been an issue of huge concern. But I appreciate the question, Commissioner Salzman, and would love to take a look at the language and submit comments if helpful.
Thank you. Okay, does anyone else in the audience have any comments they'd like to make? And last chance for our commissioners and our council. Any other comments? Wow, okay. We had planned to stay here till noon, but I guess we won't.
What's going to happen at our lunch?
That's right, Yeah, there's free lunch for everybody. No, we're just kidding. There's not. But anyway, okay, well, thank you for coming today. If you, I think all of us are very accessible. If you have anything you'd like to share with us, you know how to reach us. And so we'll look forward to moving on with these rules and getting these made effective. So, all right, thank you for coming this morning. Thank you.